Oh, hey, thanks for stopping by to help me out with that thing. I haven't seen you in a while. You've been away at training, right? How was that? Okay, good, yeah. What kind of training was it? Did you say body language training? All right, listen, yeah, we better take this inside. Got a few things I want to tell you. Hoaxes are easily startled, but they'll soon be back, and in greater number. All right, yeah, let's go. All right, well, that's better. Hey, let's talk about this. You know, I only want the best for you. And yeah, I've had my fair share of training that I was a bit suspicious about. Think of it this way. If you were sitting next to somebody in a restaurant trying to discuss what you might want for dinner, if you were just having a casual conversation with somebody in the park, or you happened upon a friend and we're just having a conversation about your day, those interactions, there's a really low threshold for that person to typically want to deceive you or to diminish the truth. However, in our profession, let's face it, at least half, if not considerably more, of the people we encounter all have motivations to not tell us the truth, to be deceptive towards us, or to give us their diminished version of the truth. And for that reason, we can't just give in to these quick fixes. People that tell us they can tell if a person's lying by how many times they blink their eyes, or if they turn to the left, or if they turn to the right, or how many times they unfold their arms, or cross their legs, or tap their feet. Any number of body language things that they say they can tell truth versus falsehoods. I'm telling you, beware of that. Now, I do have a very good and successful alternative that has worked great for me. I'll tell you about that later, but for now, just hear me out and my case for why body language observations do not work. Now, if your body language training was anything like the one I went through several years ago, they talked about things such as nonverbal communicators, such as scratching your head, self-soothing movements, crossing your legs, blading off, restricting body communication, blinking their eyes, looking to the left, looking to the right, becoming small, becoming large, putting their hands on the table, putting their hands under the table, which, yes, human beings do all of those things in the right context and in certain scenarios. But to say that we can tell truth from fiction simply is not a risk I'm willing to take. But consider this. Human beings are so extremely diverse. There's so many inputs that go into human beings when you contact them, either for an interview or an interrogation. They can be emotionally charged. They can be grounded in some type of fear. They're tethered to their background, heck, even to things that they experienced as a child, their upbringing, ethnic, cultural, religious, even political leanings can all affect how they present to you in nonverbal, what we call communications. Yet the pursuit to interpret nonverbal communications can come from so many places. Some of them are good, some of them are effective, some of them are just quite truthfully unreliable, untested, non-scientifically validated, and have very little scrutiny other than to say, I'm an expert, this is what I've seen, which is great, but that's not hugely empirical evidence as far as I'm concerned. Also consider this, you bring a person who has their motivations for wanting to be honest or not honest. You have all the lineage they have psychologically that they're bringing to the table, much of which you know very little bit about if we're being honest. And then you couple that with a person, in other words, you or me, who has our own motivations for wanting to interview this person. We want to get to the truth. We want to solve a case. We want to, if we're being honest, we want to be proven right. We want to know that our ideas or our biases about a certain case prove to be true. That's just part of human nature. As I always used to tell people, investigate, don't navigate. But that can be a hard thing to do because, again, we have a job to do. We inherently want to get to the truth, but we also want the satisfaction of cracking a case wide open and justice being served based on our good works. Now consider this. As public servants, our job is the pursuit of justice, and a byproduct of justice is truth. But a case can also be made stating that justice is a byproduct of truth. We know so many times truth is a trampled thing by many motivated feet. For better or worse, truth in the eyes of the law is accepted as a shade of gray. What I mean by that is no jury or judge is compelled to make a decision in the eyes of the law based on 100% truthful evidence. Our legal justice system has shades of gray. They're gradients of what we might call truth and justice. Here's some examples. 3 of these categories are, for example, beyond a reasonable doubt. Another one is clear and convincing evidence. And then we also have a preponderance of the evidence. Now, none of those 3 categories are 100% truth. And so, because of that, it becomes even more important for us as the professionals, as those concerned with delivering a good case to the judicial system, to properly do our work, to set our biases aside, to set how we want to navigate the course of an investigation, and to be fully involved and invested in reaching a truthful resolution for justice. So given this sliding gray scale of what truth means in the eyes of the law, it would be very inappropriate for us to rely solely on something like body language, or how many times a person blinked, or how many times we thought they crossed their arms at an inappropriate point, or how many times we asked a question only for them to start doing self-soothing motions to themselves, or to find comfort in their own physical touch, or to break eye contact. There simply is not enough information that we can use those nonverbal communicators as a reason to say that the person is being honest, dishonest, partially honest, partially truthful, partially deceptive, on and on and on. Now here's a caution. I would also caution you regarding a training curriculum whose examples are movie clips or fictional accounts. If the basis for what they're telling you is not rooted in actual testable accounts, I would highly question that curriculum. We've probably all been to those trainings where the examples they give are based on movies or some type of other fictional account. Here's the caution and the warning. Those are actors playing a role. They're trying to sell their performance of that character to you so that you, the viewing audience, feels, wow, they really portrayed that guilty person as extra guilty. Wow, they really portrayed that heroic person as extra heroic. Body language coupled with their acting can be a very powerful thing to sell you, the audience member, on a film, a fictional account. And so therefore, those accounts of hyperacting or acting kind of above and beyond what the role might require, or what you might see in everyday life, should not be used as examples to display or prove their point. I would also caution you against this. Taking training from companies that are mostly just for profit, or who charge these exorbitant training fees just so you can learn their proprietary guide to getting to the truth. A guide that they devised using slick acronyms or things that have been field tested in a very minimal way. Or these proprietary modules that were devised after a case was closed, and then they went back and dissected the aspects of that case to devise their proprietary module. It can be a very self-serving thing to go back and to say, hey, See how many times this guy blinked? See every time we mentioned his wife, he turned to the left? There can be 1,000 reasons for that, but it's very convenient for some of these companies to charge you a lot of money only to give you some proprietary acronyms or modules that sound pretty good if we're being honest, but they are largely not based on scientific scrutiny. They're not based on extreme cases where their modules or proprietary acronyms have really shown good fruit for their training curriculum. Now, before I get into the alternative I have for you to body language training, let me give you a bit of my opinion and some things that have worked great for me in the past. Again, this is my personal opinion, and it's based on two things that have panned out great for me. Communication. Now, communication, if you think of communication, it's largely accepted that it is contrived of words, tone, and body language. Now, getting back to scrutinizing body language training, if that is true or accepted, then we're leaving 2/3 of that equation out. And that's simply something I don't want to do when a person's well-being and freedoms are at stake. Also, something to consider. We communicate with the world around us, specifically other human beings, in 4 ways. The words we say, how we say those words, what we do, and how we look. Now, taking all those things into consideration, it becomes even more foolhardy to diminish all those other things and to just use one thing, body language or nonverbal communication, to get to the bottom of what we think is occurring here. Friends, we simply don't have that luxury in today's age to take sloppy routes to closing out cases. The public we serve rightly demands more from us, and we should be delivering just that. Now, here's an alternative that has worked great for me. Consider taking training on behavioral analysis, curriculum that has a wide breadth of information, instruction on things such as word choice, statement conviction, written analysis, testing statements, taking into consideration physical and witness evidence, and how to highly tailor an interview for your specific person being interviewed. In other words, your investigative actions with another human being should reflect just how unique that particular human being is and the uniqueness of the case. Don't take that easy route where you're counting the number of blinks or you're looking at a person's body language as a sole way to communicate truth or falsity. Now, you can generally use a basic outline or model for interacting and interviewing, but always leave room for the art of a highly experienced tailor to create a bespoke encounter from which you can get to an accurate sense of the truth. Yes, people will hold on to themselves. Yes, people will blink their eyes differently than you. Yes, people will break eye contact. Yes, people's cultures and ethnicities and upbringings and fears and loyalties and motivations and 1,000 other dynamic things will enter the room. And if you are solely looking at their body language, I'm telling you, friends, you are leaving yourself wide open for mistakes. Hey, that's what I have for you this time. Body language. It's not a crutch. It can be used to some degree, but couple it with other things that you know, time-tested and scrutinized. Listen, I only want the best for you. I want you to succeed out there. And I want you largely to change the public's opinion about policing. And we're going to do that by doing good work consistently and not taking shortcuts that don't yield great results. Not good results, great results. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you staying through the end of this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about body language or nonverbal communication. Maybe it's actually worked for you on a few occasions. Maybe you're an expert yourself and can teach me something. At any rate, keep doing the good work, elevate your game, get outside the historic norms of policing, and give the public something they're not expecting in a very good way. Get outside and let's get that work done.